Okay, I apologize. We're late, but been a big day. Don't have time to do my own stuff. Oh my goodness. Now, Howie, open that window. It's too damn hot. Okay, ona gadi bahi ka jokwa, so parang siya nyari. Gazita on zio, yo jets ka hawa no jay on dajets ko in a star, ronata roni. Retin wada do garunga kari agasum, yeti sota asatonka garakwa, yeti in stadzi hunzagi, dan a glebiskat ne ganungwe. Retin wada do sawa year and it kundun hetzerat gawis, a gwaids ni ganyatar de gera dan a quego o quadzari on unko supa. Retin wada do a did I say gwaids ni ganyatar de gera? Yeti sota gunhan ne. Hetsten kan ik go rio de hawa kwe. Damdawe adon hetsida gazet stansira ne ganungwe. Damdawe adon hetsida gazet stansira ne asat ni got dardagen ganyanga hager de dinyato ronata hroni dan riskarewage. Damdawe adon gatsira aguego onagoro gayan rasira go aneskana. Ori guio, kari wa gori shunsira dan gazet stansira. Damdawe yorakwa whisk ni zage gana sume unwe etzage the gana wida etzage jagunsa ze damdawe don hetsira gayanda wana ne gonna go rio. Okay, so as you know, every time we get together for a council meeting, ceremony, anything of importance, we always have to carry out Ahmad first. This is the words that come before all else. It's where we identify and give thanks to the things within creation that have created us and the things that we need to continue to sustain us. So we always begin by giving our thanks to the great spiral of creation that when you look up into the nighttime sky, you are not looking into cold, dark, empty, lifeless space the way that non-native science would lead you to believe. No, instead, you are looking into the living, vibrant body of our great mother. And so we give thanks to her, to Sky Woman, as it is she who has given us spirit. From there, we give our thanks to the beating heart of our Mother Earth, to Grandma Moon, as she who regulates the lifeblood in all things. And so we give thanks to Grandma Moon, as it is she who has given us blood. From there, we give our thanks to our Mother Earth, regardless of what color you are, what language you speak, where you've grown up from Mother Earth, or more importantly today, what you imagine divides us. What allows you to hate other people, to war upon other people, to kill other people. Regardless of these things, we all come from the same mother, making us all one family, sisters, brothers, all relations, all together. And so we give thanks to her, to Mother Earth, as it is she who has given us body. From there, we give our thanks to all the women, from the newest born baby girl to the eldest grandmother, as they carry the sacred title of life giver into the world and are to be honored and respected as such. We give thanks to them, for in this world they give us purpose and direction. And to expand on this, that they give us purpose and direction. You hear me saying this, I'm a guy. When we think of, we always reference Mama Bear and her cubs, that when the cubs are being raised, they're being exclusively raised by the Mama Bear. She does not allow any adult male bears around her children. She'll even attack them. She'll ward them off. She'll kill them if necessary to keep adult male bears away from her children. This means that for approximately a couple of years, sometimes to 3 years, 3.5, maybe a little more, bear cubs will stay with the mother. So for that long, for let's say 3 years of their life, they are being exclusively taught by the mama bear. So they are being taught everything of foods to eat, how to play with each other, how to conduct themselves with each other, with other bears, and more importantly, they're learning about the danger of adult male bears. So they are being taught exclusively by the mama bear, and in that time, this is where the baby bears are being taught their purpose and direction in this world. And so this is how we identify and associate that the life givers give us purpose and direction. And it goes beyond that. Once you are, let's say you're, for guys, the first girlfriend we might get, we are being taught by the life givers. They're teaching us how to act, how to conduct ourselves, and this goes all the way right until the day that we die. Now, guys can be resistant to this. Guys can be male dominant. They can be narcissists and avoid the proper interaction in this world, the proper interaction with the life giver. So this is how it is, not just when we are babies, it is throughout our lives that the life givers give us purpose and direction. From there, we give our thanks to all the spirit that connects all things together, from the furthest reaching roots of the trees deep inside of our mother earth, extracting the energy from deep inside of our mother earth, from all the knowns and the unknowns, to the up near the surface, where the little crawling creatures live, where the roots and the medicines are, to the surface where people dwell, where animals live, where above into the insects and the birds. And as you get higher into our Mother Earth's atmosphere, the microbial life forms that we are constantly breathing in, to the water that we are breathing in right now, to what is not within our understanding of water, but when you extrapolate our current existence to what our existence was within the womb of our mother, that you would never think that you could live in water, but for approximately 9 moons, this is what we have all done. We lived in water. We were, water was flowing through us, water was creating us. The power of water, the power of life is what was giving us our form, giving us even our thoughts, giving us everything as to what we are. Up above into, off of our mother earth, off of our earthly cell, into the solar cell, and beyond into the galactic cell, and into the larger body of Sky Woman, the spirit that connects all things together, and in all strains of life, of whatever it is that you can imagine. If you can imagine, or maybe someday we'll discover what's on the furthest reaches of the waterverse, what the non-native world knows as the universe. What may be in the furthest reaches, that way in all directions, that whatever there is there, it is all constituted of water, and all of it is perpetuated through the life giver. And so we give thanks to the life giver in all strains of life, as it is they that perpetuate the diversity of Sky Woman's dream. From there, we give our thanks to all the waters and all the medicines and all the shapes and forms they come in. And this is to remind ourselves, like what was just said, when we're forming in the belly of our mother, that it's water that is giving us life. So water, all the shapes and forms, is bone. A hard bone in your head that makes your head so hard, my head anyways, is water. The rain that falls out of the sky, of course, we associate that as being water, but we don't associate what's raising up in the sky as being water. We just think of, oh, that's fog, like maybe early in the morning, late in the afternoon, early in the evening. I mean, you'll see fog. That's water, and we'll see it rising. So water doesn't just fall from the sky; it also rises. As a matter of fact, as the thunder dance teaches us, that all waters first come from within the body of the mother, and then it rises then to be transformed and selected, just like within the birthing process, that it is that we are all first, you, me, I was first as a life giver, as a female in this world. It is only approximately, I think, 3 to 4 weeks, something like that, in the gestation process, that I am then appointed, selected by the female to be male. So we are managed all through our existence, whether we acknowledge this or not, we are managed by our mothers. We are appointed, we are selected, we are chosen by the life givers. And so on every level, all the different shapes and forms that water comes in, we give our thanks and our acknowledgement to these things, as it is what gives us, again, the diversity of this beautiful life that Sky Woman has given to us. From there, we give our thanks to our ancestors that carried the good mind, and we ask them to help us to return our mothers back to their natural seat of authority within all of our nations so they can manage all of our people properly once again. This goes not only for the Ganyangahaga, not only for the 5 nations, not only for all native people throughout Turtle Island, North and South. This goes for all people on our Mother Earth. The non-native people have lost their way long time ago, thousands of years ago. They are compromised, disrupted from the natural flow of energy within this world, and they have turned male dominant. They have turned what's that word? Misogynist. I already used that, right? Their whole existence has turned male dominant, and basically it's like turning life inside out, where it cannot sustain itself this way. And so in the non-native world, as they have lost their way thousands of years ago, we identify that throughout the world, everywhere, throughout creation, to return our mothers back to their natural seat of authority so they can manage all of us properly once again. We are not to be governed. People are not to be governed. We are not to be subjected under some type of rule or whatever by anyone else. No, we are to live in this world properly, and this means the only way to do that is to be managed by our mothers. They are the only ones that can manage us properly within this world. The only ones that can balance out male dominant stupidity. So from there, we ask our ancestors to help us to return the true spirit of the 3 universal clans of the Ganyangahaga, of the turtle, wolf, and bear, what the non-native world knows as protons, neutrons, and electrons. From there, we ask our ancestors to help us to return the true knowledge of every wampum within the great law of peace back to the hearts and minds of the people, to return this is where I don't really know how to say this yet. I'm still working this out, but to return the true spirit of the Yorakwa, of the 5 nations Longhouse Confederacy, the Ganasume Unwe people, Etzage, the Ganawida, Etzage, Jagunseze. The male is always below. We are never the primary. We are always the secondary. And we raise our mothers up, and we follow our mother's path within this world, as we follow our grandmother Moon's light out of the darkness. If should we be lost in this world, it is our grandmother that will return us back to the balanced mind, leading to the good mind. And so if there is anything that I have left out, well, then that's for you to put it in its proper place. Of course, today, if you've been with us, if you're aware of what's going on, very big day. We are addressing the contamination, the toxic sludge that is all around Ganawagi, which is identified as a systemic racial, environmental, and economic genocide, racism upon the, not just here in Ganawagi. As you know, you go to any reserve anywhere throughout Turtle Island, North and South, and you're going to find the exact same industrial racism surrounding every native community. This is done outright on purpose within the genocidal policy of the non-native systems of governance. The non-native people today, they'll say, oh no, we're not systemically racist. We're not doing this. We wouldn't do that. Well, this is not true. The non-native people, individuals, may be good on their own. We know many non-native people that are very good people. We have two-row wampum relations with many people, but the problem is that with the non-native people, when they, from individuals, and when they expand to collective, this is where they lose their humanity, because their collective identity is overpowered. Their individual human identity is overpowered by the collective corruption of democracy, which has everyone on earth subjected to things that they don't want to do, just like the wars that are raging right now. The people don't want these wars. The people are standing against them. They're protesting against them. But yet it's the democracy, which is a self-inflicted state of schizophrenia upon anyone who participates in it. Now, anyone who is, of course, of that, of course, they would dispute. And that means even our own people who have compromised their own identity, access to their own identity, by adopting the non-native systems of so-called governance, which isn't actually governments, it's actually enslavement. So the band systems, tribal systems on the so-called state side, that this relinquishes the native people relinquish their identity through participating in such a system, because again, it is a self-inflicted state of schizophrenia upon anyone who participates. You can see that within a country like so-called Canada or the United States, when you consider one country, you think of it, not extrapolate, but you transfer that down or draw the parallels to an individual. Okay, if I'm one country and I want to make a decision about something, then imagine if I have these different parties in my head. Within an individual, what does that constitute? That constitutes schizophrenia. And so this is what you see within all democracies. You see this party, that party, many parties fighting against each other. And this is all that ever happens within democracy, is one party fighting against the other, vying to be the one in power, precisely like what happens within the individual schizophrenic mind. That all the different identities that are within that individual, the identities are always fighting to be the one that is in charge, the one that is making the decisions. And of course, the one that will be in charge is always the most brutal, always the one that does not care about anything else, because this is how they come into power, by overpowering all the others. And so this is the exemplification of how democracy is a self-inflicted state of schizophrenia upon one individual or upon hundreds of millions who may participate in it. And it becomes a collective state of schizophrenia where you never know who's in charge. No one's ever responsible. It is an extrapolation of the non-natives' creation of corporations, where a corporation made up of a bunch of people can do anything they want and nobody is ever held accountable. Well, of course, this has been changing in recent years in the non-native world, but in the native world, we never had such stupidity. We never had this because we function under Constitution. You can't have Constitution and then be voting on whether you're going to uphold Constitution or not, because then there's no Constitution. In Constitution of the Great Law of Peace, it is not a matter of what your opinion is or what you want to do. It's a matter of law. It's a matter of right and wrong, and to narrow things down to a more human understanding and a more human control of your decision-making process. It comes down to, within the terminology of the Ganyangahaga, to the Ganiguriyo and the Ganiguraksa. And so this is it, whatever it is that you're going to do or want to do or pursue, it's going to fall under one of those two categories. It's either going to be the Ganiguriyo, the good mind, or it's going to be the Ganiguraksa. And if it is the bad mind, then it does not it is not allowed to continue to grow. Okay, so we had a very big day today. If you have been with us, you know, we had a very important meeting. It doesn't matter how many people were there, but there was more people than what I expected. I expected myself, Gazita Howie Curry, my son, and I really didn't expect anyone else. But we had a really good turnout, and it wasn't the matter of how many people turned out, it was the not the quantity, but the quality. It was the quality of the turnout. It was the quality of the people, the reason why they were there, what was collectively in the mind of the people to protect our faces yet beneath the earth, to protect and to heal our Mother Earth. Of course, we're talking about here in Ganawagi. This is what took place today in this meeting pertaining to precisely the KSS, the Ganawagi Survival School, which the Ed Center just last week or 2 weeks ago, within the last 2 weeks anyways, put out a statement about the sugar shack at the Ganawagi Survival School site, identifying that they discovered lead within the maple waters. Now, this is just the maple water. It's not the boiled down into syrup thing. It's just the maple water, what's flowing out of the tree. So where does that come from? What's flowing out of the tree? Is it these trees all of a sudden that we must cut all these trees down because they're made of lead and they're pouring lead-laced water that it's coming out of them? No, it's not the trees that are doing that. So where did this come from? You think over the winter time, what happens within maple trees? Anyways, it's not at this time, it's not extracting the water out of the ground because the ground is still frozen. The permafrost, you know, well, not the permafrost, the whatever that's called, I can't think of it right now, you know, approximately 6 feet of earth frozen throughout the winter. So it's not extracting water from that. Where this maple water that is laced what lead comes from is this year's snowfall. And that's when it melts and it absorbs into the roots and the trees pick this up and release that water. That means that it's not the lead coming from deep inside of the earth somewhere. No, it's what's coming right from on the surface. And so the statement that they put out from the Ed Center last week or 2 weeks ago identified this, that they were shutting down the sugar shack. It was that crucial and that important that, hey, there's lead there. We're going to shut down the sugar shack. But in the same letter, they state that it's safe for the students in survival school. No, it's not. I do not contend this. Science contends this. Science identifies that there is no level of lead that is safe to have humans exposed to, especially children, youth, while their minds are still within development. It's not safe for adults either. It's not safe for anybody, but especially we don't want this exposed to children. So the Kanyagahaga land defenders had a lot of concerns from different people in the community, and also combined with the good work that Gasitsahawi and Curry had done in the last couple of months to go out and to put these, I don't know what it's called, but these things that they go to test the snow, go to test the air, that with all of this good work, we see the high levels of lead, and I say high levels because anything above zero is a high level, especially when there is no source of lead there naturally, except for a battery recycling plant, which happens to be directly across the street from the Ganawagi Survival School. That this is utter stupidity to say that it's safe for the students. No, because if it got into the maple water, it's in the air. It's in the snow that's melting. That means the students that are there are breathing it in. And as was discussed today, not only as time goes by, they're playing outside. Maybe they're going to be doing sports outside. They're exposed to it. So there is no level that is safe to be exposed to. And so because of the Ed Center put out this statement that it's no longer just the Ganyangahaga land defenders that are saying, lead, we got to do something. It's wrong. It's bad. Now that they said this, the system said it. It is time for the people to take action, emergency action, knowing that it has been there for 40 years, soaking into the soil. soaking into the bloodstream of everybody who has gone to school there. And you think, high school, you're there from the time you're 12 years old to approximately 16, 17 years old. You know, in some cases, maybe 18. You know, and so you're there exposed to the neurotoxin. We must understand that lead is a neurotoxin. It attacks the brain. It attacks your central nervous system, meaning your communication throughout your living systems of, if I want to move my pinky finger this way, it's because of the central nervous system attached to my central point of consciousness. So lead gets into the bloodstream, it affects the entirety of everything. So a way to understand this, if some people just aren't grasping this, a way to understand this is if you are, let's say, in food production. Let's say you're I don't know, you're making donuts. So if you're making donuts and some kind of neurotoxin gets into the dough, then no matter what you do from there, you know, if you put sprinkles on it, you put icing on it, you make it taste better, it doesn't really matter, because once it's in the dough, it's spread throughout the entire system. And that means that the entire system is compromised. And so the entire system of our children over the past 40 years is compromised. And so today we identify that this is an emergency situation. It doesn't matter if you learn 40 years after you're exposed to it. It was an emergency 40 years ago. And if you just learn about it today, it is still an emergency. It doesn't mean because we're exposed to it for 40 years and we discover it today that we can take our time, you know, we can move slow on this. We don't have to take our children out of the school right now. We can just say, don't drink the maple water. No, it's an emergency. It was an emergency 40 years ago to not place a school on top of a neurotoxin industrial complex that is right across the street. You could spit at that complex. That's how close it was, how close it still is to the Ganawagi Survival School. Now, mind grant you that the survival school did move, and I guess it's today we've kind of figured out that it's about 15 years ago, but it only moved a couple of 100 feet. And where they found the lead is in the current location. So if they found that in the current location, then the location that was there for 40 years, people were exposed to it. So, okay, this is kind of in a nutshell what was discussed today. If you've been with us and you've seen the video, the live video transmission of the meeting that we had, and there was nobody there who said, no, we don't have to worry. There's nobody there who said, no, we don't have to pull our children out of school. Everybody there was so concerned that it is a collective understanding now that everybody must take their children out of that school immediately. And we must do like what was done in 1978 when the students walked out of Howard S. Billings in Chattagee because of the systemic racism that we were all experiencing there. I was in grade 10 in 78, but I left with my family. We went to Arizona. I was in grade 10. So in March, we left. If I would have stayed here and went back to school in September, I would have been in grade 11, my final year. But I would have been exposed. Well, it wasn't there at the time. It was in the center of town. So they moved the survival school approximately around 79 or 80, maybe 81 on the outside. They decided to move our children out of the confines of the village where they're safe, where they're protected, where they could have walked to school, where there was no highways involved. At the very least, you think of highways. Anybody over those years knew that if they were late for school, how the hell are you going to walk down a highway? No. Well, you know what a lot of people did? They walked down the Seaway Road, which was a danger in itself. So we took our children out of the safety of the confines of the village just to say that they're safe, where they're around the adults, where we could see them. And somebody, some brainiac or brainiacs, decided to move the school out to the edge of the reserve, right on top of this neurotoxin industrial complex, which is not just a lead recycling plant. There's all kind of other industrial toxic waste there. Just the sight of it, anybody drives by that and think, are you going to put a school right next to that? Would anywhere in Quebec, would the province fund putting a school there? No, they wouldn't. The federal would not fund putting a school there. No, not for non-native people, not for white people. No way in hell. There is standards out there that they would say, no, you got to be crazy to put a school in such a place. But here, it was inflicted upon our children. And this is where I say that it is a carryover of the smallpox infested blankets that they gave to us to attack our children and our elders, and to attack, as they continue to attack in the British Church Nazis concentration camp on Native children, what the idiots still have the nerve to refer to as residential schools. I don't care if you're Native or non-Native. If you ever refer to the British Church Nazis concentration camps on Native children as residential schools again, I personally will call you a goddamn idiot, because that was not a school. That was a concentration camp. If this was done to non-Native people, there's only one way to identify it, as a concentration camp. Okay, so that's pretty much all the update of what took place today. Okay, so I know there's people here with us. I don't know who's here with us. I can't see the screen from here. So Edith, if you can manage, if there's anybody who's got their hand up, anybody that wants to address this, or if there's somebody with us that we're expecting to, then let's go to whoever, if you manage that.
Yeah, it's gonna go great peace, grand paix à tout le monde. So Lucy had said a couple of weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, that people from the ACCQ would be here. So they are here, a few of them. So Lucy raised her hand to introduce the subject. Go ahead, Lucy.
Quoi. Mon nom est Lucie. Je suis la petite fille d'Anita et de Jeanne-Isabelle. Et ma mère est Thérèse. Je suis la maman de Frédéric, Fanny et Rémi et la grand-mère de Priya et Armand.
So Lucy introduces herself in the matrilineal way, mentioning the name of her mama, her grandma, and her children and her grandchildren.
It's gonna go.
Et ce soir, j'ai des gens qui me sont très chers qui aimeraient vous rencontrer afin, en fait, de mieux vous connaître et vice-versa. Alors, il va y avoir un ou deux porte-paroles. En fait, le premier sera Luc Arbour, qui va parler, qui va introduire le pourquoi de la rencontre. Et il y aura sûrement des gens qui viendront peut-être lever la main pour peut-être ajouter ou demander des informations. Alors, entre-temps. Mais le premier sera Luc Arbour. Alors, je vais laisser la place à Luc. Et puis, bien, si jamais vous avez quoi que ce soit à me demander, gênez-vous pas. Je suis là et j'attends, j'ai hâte de voir cette rencontre. À bientôt.
So tonight there's people that I really hold dear to my heart, and it is members of the ACCQ that are here amongst us. And there's going to be a couple of speakers, maybe. So the first one is going to be Luc Arbour, that is here with us. He already raised his hand. So of course, I'm going to be here available if there's any questions or anything that you would like to know further. But without any longer wait, I would just give the space to Luc.
Okay, before we go there, just to identify everything that I opened up with, which is the subject of today here in Kahnawake. This may be, it is a slightly different topic, but it's still intertwined. It's still in the same spirit, in the same vein. It's two-row wampum relations. We'll address this first, and then as we go on, then we'll move back onto completely onto the subject as to what was addressed today. So if any of our guests want to address this, feel free and to address what the subject is of the two-row wampum relations. So Nyawagoa, thank you very much and welcome.
Donc, comme on a adressé d'abord l'enjeu de Thérapure et toute la rencontre qui a eu lieu aujourd'hui à Ganawagé, ben, on va aller maintenant à donner justement la parole aux gens de la SCCQ puisqu'on parle justement des relations Wampum-Adjuvois. Et si jamais il y a quelqu'un parmi vous aussi qui voudrait aborder le sujet qu'on vient de traiter, ne vous gênez pas, allez-y de l'avant. Puis à la fin de cette interaction, on va pouvoir revenir à ce sujet encore une fois. Donc, bienvenue à tout le monde. Donc, Luc, sans plus tarder, la parole est à vous.
Ben, merci beaucoup. Thank you, Stuart, very much. Thank you for having us. Merci. Si, je sais pas si, je crois que vous traduisez. Si ça vous dérange pas, moi, probablement que je peux faire une partie en français au départ, puis le refaire en anglais après. Euh,
C'est comme vous vous sentez le plus à l'aise. Dans le fond, si vous voulez, je peux aussi le faire. C'est vraiment comme vous vous sentez mieux.
OK. Ben, je pense que je devrais être correct. Je vais m'essayer, en tout cas.
D'accord. Parfait.
Donc, I'll say, Stuart, I'll speak in French first, and eventually I'll do it myself in English, if you don't mind.
Okay, if you don't mind, we'd prefer if you're going to speak in French, Edith will do the translation. Because what we discovered in the past that if somebody's can speak both languages, if they're speaking in French and then they're going to translate what they said and they're going to say speak in English, a lot of times there's stuff that is left out. So a translator is crucial to have everything that is said to be conveyed properly, because like you said, sometimes it could just slip your mind, and if you said it in French, you might not say it in English. So we would prefer it that way if you don't mind.
Oui, donc Stuart dit, si ça vous dérange pas, dans le passé, on a vu, c'est que quand que les personnes sont bilingues, donc ils parlent anglais-français, parfois ils vont dire quelque chose dans leur langue, puis là, quand ils vont se traduire, ils vont comme ajouter ou laisser d'autres choses de côté. Donc, justement, pour éviter ça, on préfère ou on privilégie l'affaire avec la traduction. Donc, voilà, si ça vous va, je peux le faire avec plaisir.
Fair enough. OK. Donc, je disais merci beaucoup de nous accueillir. On est quelques-uns ici ce soir. Est-ce que on fait quelques phrases et tu traduis au fur et à mesure, hein,
Oui,
c'est ça?
merci. Oui, c'est parfait. So thank you for welcoming us, and we are a few amongst us tonight here with you.
Donc, notre intention, je veux faire ça relativement court. C'est juste de nous présenter brièvement qui on est et ensuite, qu'est-ce qu'on veut globalement, nous, pourquoi on existe, puis quel est notre but. Et en troisième, quel est notre but ce soir?
So I will do that short. Actually, we are here to introduce ourselves. So I will do it in like three times. First, introducing ourselves. Then, what is exactly like our goal? What is an intention? What is the reason of being for us? And then, why are we here tonight here with you?
Donc, qui nous sommes? Nous sommes en fait une organisation nous, on se nomme citoyens, donc des gens qui ne sont pas associés à des partis politiques ou à des organisations de pouvoir. On est tous des gens de différents horizons, mais vraiment pas liés à des intérêts politiques ou de gouvernance. On est en général euh, plutôt réticents ou plutôt, je dirais pas anti-gouvernance, mais pas loin. On n'a pas une très bonne opinion des gouvernements et de la politique. mais on reconnaît que c'est quelque chose qui existe et on travaille avec ça. Mais donc, d'abord et avant tout, on n'est vraiment pas associé à aucun mouvement politique. Fait
Okay,
qu'il y a
so
avec ça.
who we are is basically we are a citizens organization. So we are people that is not associated to any political powers or anybody that is in any power position. We are people that come from very different horizons. So we really don't have anything with governance or political interest. Even that we could say that we are anti-governance. Of course, we know, that there's politicians. We don't have necessarily a good opinion of them, but we know they exist, so we have to deal with that. But that's who we are.
OK. Et puis, donc, c'est ça. Et dans le fond, nous, il y a plus d'une dizaine d'années, presque 15 ans, beaucoup de gens de partout se sont réunis pour réfléchir, je dirais, au vivre ensemble, comment la société fonctionne et pour prendre en note beaucoup de problèmes. C'est assez facile de relever les problèmes, mais plus que ça, les gens ont réfléchi à comment régler ces problèmes-là ou comment améliorer les choses. Et de toutes ces réflexions-là, au fil des années, la CCQ est une continuité de ça. La CCQ est une organisation officielle avec un nom enregistré qui sert un peu de base officielle, mais pour garder toutes ces réflexions-là qui sont faites. Fait que nous, on ramasse de l'information qui déborde de la CCQ, qui s'étend sur des décennies, de beaucoup de gens qui sont en dehors de la CCQ, mais on sert un peu de point. Parfois, des groupes apparaissent, durent quelques années, disparaissent. Fait que nous, on essaie de garder une permanence pour l'information, on conserve une médiathèque, des choses. C'est qu'on veut essayer de garder ça avec, éventuellement, j'en viendrai à notre mission, mais je vais te laisser traduire cela.
Merci, Luc. So we exist for more than 15 years now. So people from everywhere actually joined, and the goal was to reflect upon how we live together. That's like the real politics, how we live together. And of course, many people would like bring up a lot of problems, but then we said, okay, yes, we have enough problems, but how are we going to fix them? So we were really aiming at finding solutions. So the ACCQ is like a continuity of this, and we are now an official registered name. So we are liking to have like a basis to keep those reflections because in the ACCQ throughout all of these years, there's many people that have been coming or going. So there's a lot of people outside like the group that is working right now. But as we remain to have this like basis of reflection.
Et donc, ce qui est sorti de toutes ces réflexions-là, c'est que pour reformuler la société ou refaire la société, Euh, la seule façon qu'on peut le faire bien, c'est à partir des citoyens. Euh, Tous les gens qui sont présentement en situation de pouvoir, les gouvernements, les juges, ces choses-là, sont incapables. On ne peut pas s'attendre d'eux qui font des choses qui vont améliorer la société. Ils vont systématiquement essayer de garder leurs privilèges ou de travailler la société pour se garder une position de privilégié et ça vient contredire les intérêts de la société ou des gens. Donc, nous, on considère que c'est que les gens qui peuvent déterminer les règles de la société. Et donc, ce qu'on propose, c'est ce qu'on appelle une assemblée constituante pour écrire une constitution. Mais les seules personnes qui sont aptes à écrire cette constitution-là sont les gens qui ne font pas partie des gouvernements présentement.
So from these reflections, we actually came to try to do how to reformulate or to redo the society. Because and what we realize is that for it to be good, it has to come from the citizen. Because anybody that is in a power position, be it judges, anybody in the government, etc., they are by themselves unable to do that. We cannot expect them to improve the society because they will just keep, they just want to keep their own privileges. So that actually itself contradicts the interests of societies themselves. So the only ones that can legitimately do that job is the citizens. So our goal and what we have been working for is to do a constituent assembly in which only the citizens that are the legitimate ones that can write this constitution do it.
Yeah, you really do a good job of translating, I think.
Merci, Luc.
Um, yeah, so this is the thing. So that's our goal. Our vision and our goal is to put into place, bring the people together to create this thing. And our goal is not to write down the Constitution. We are just a bunch of people. We are not legitimate to talk in the name of the society. So it's clear for us, we are ICCQ are not the one to make the Constitution. We just have a plan to how to make a constitution, and this is what our goal is to make people understand how to make a constitution, and this is what we think we're good of. I'm talking in English. I just realized.
Ça arrive souvent. Je vais faire le relais pour le français, puis après, on va switcher facilement.
Ouais, ok. Excusez,
Donc,
I
non,
totally switched.
il y a
Um,
vraiment pas de problème.
ok,
Notre vision, en fait, c'est de mettre les gens ensemble. Donc, ça va être pas être le goût qui va venir faire la Constitution. Et, tu sais, ça va pas être non plus un paquet de gens. Tu sais, nous sommes un paquet de gens, mais nous n'avons pas la légitimité non plus pour parler au nom de la société. Donc, nous, ce que nous voulons, en fait, ce que nous avons, c'est un plan pour le faire.
oui, c'est bon. Donc, c'est ça. Donc, notre mission, c'est vraiment le plan. Et donc, j'en arrive à lire. J'ai présenté un peu qui on est. Donc, puis notre plan, c'est ça. C'est comment faire en sorte de faire cette constitution citoyenne-là. Et à l'intérieur de ça, on pense qu'on est assez bon parce qu'avec toutes les années et les consultations, on a développé une formule intéressante. On est toujours ouvert à l'améliorer. On est une organisation aussi à spécifier qu'on n'a pas d'une organisation hiérarchique. Tous les gens qui participent sont au même point. Nos rencontres se font toujours en tour de table. Il n'y a pas de patron, il n'y a pas de chef. Aujourd'hui, j'ai été désigné un peu comme porte-parole, mais je ne fais que refléter. Si d'autres personnes veulent participer, ils ont beau. Il n'y a pas de chef. On est vraiment des citoyens toujours égaux. Fait que ça, c'est une particularité importante. Je vais te laisser faire ce petit bout-là.
See, so I spoke a little bit already about who we are. So now the mission or what we want is exactly that, the plan. So the plan is how to do this citizen constitution. And we believe that we are like throughout the years, we are kind of like improved. We are good, like with all of the methods that we have been using, for example, with consultations. So we have like a good formula now. And it's important to say that we are a non-hierarchical organization. Our meetings are everybody speaks around the table. There's not like a chief or a big boss. For example, today I am selected as the speaker to come and tell you all of this. But if anybody else wants to speak, they are completely entitled to do so.
OK. Donc c'est ça. Fait que notre but, c'est ça. On pense qu'on a une bonne idée, mais notre idée, elle est construite autour de notre connaissance de la société, de la partie du Québec, qu'on dirait des Occidentaux. Notre méthode, on sait qu'elle peut s'appliquer, puis elle est opportune pour ça. Elle tient compte de la culture, puis tout ça. Mais comme le but de ça, c'est d'intégrer les humains et le territoire, il faut nécessairement aussi partie prenante des Premières Nations. Et quand arrive le temps de comment intégrer les Premières Nations à l'intérieur de ça, parce qu'on vit ensemble, on doit trouver une façon de vivre ensemble. Nous, on ne se sent pas très à l'aise et très qualifiés. Alors là, c'est la raison de notre rencontre ici ce soir, c'est de lancer, de dire, on aimerait avoir des discussions, probablement pas ce soir, plus tard, mais de savoir comment vous voyez ça pour construire, qu'est-ce que vous nous proposez ou qu'est-ce que seraient vos visions pour construire la société, mais de quelle façon que les Premières Nations pourraient s'intégrer. Nous, on ne veut pas forcer ou décider. On a besoin de savoir quelles sont votre façon pour travailler ensemble.
Mhm. So our goal is like we have a good idea, but our idea is that it comes around the knowledge of Quebec, and we know that we are from the Western world, if we want to say it. So of course, it's a methods we are utilizing the methods that come from our own culture, but the goal here is that we have to integrate humans within the territories. So it obviously talks about First Nations. How do we integrate them to live together? Because that's exactly what we want. How do we live together? But when we get to that point, we don't really feel qualified because, and that's the reason of our meeting tonight. We would love to talk, like to have conversations, discussions, not tonight, but in further times, uh, to know really what do you see? What do you propose? For example, what is your vision of society? Because we know that we cannot decide for you or we cannot force anything upon you. So that's exactly why we are here to listen to you.
Et c'est éventuellement, si c'est des choses qui vous intéressent, ben, la suite, c'est de voir après ça comment on pourrait travailler ensemble pour élaborer sur cette idée-là. Mais je vous dirais que j'ai fait le tour.
Okay, so if that is something that interests you, I would say, well, how can we work together? So I think that I cover pretty much all of the points for now.
Yes, this interests us very much so that for the past 400 years, we have been under precisely what you're identifying is the relationship of the Degani Diahade of the two Wampum.
Oui, ça nous intéresse tellement parce que ça fait en effet 400 ans que nous sommes avec cette relation justement avec vous selon le Wampum à deux voix.
First and foremost, the two Wampum identifies the people.
Et d'abord, le Wampum à deux voix identifie les gens, le peuple.
It's not about this government or whatever perception we have of it, or who the leader is or who the politicians are. It's about the people's interaction with each other.
Et ça n'a absolument rien à voir avec les supposément gouvernements ou en fait ceux qui disent qu'ils représentent les gens. Non, c'est vraiment avec les gens, le peuple.
And when the people understand of the rules of interaction, just like in the non-native world, you have rules of engagement, you have rules for war. But for people interacting with each other, there's no rules for that.
Et donc, quand que le peuple et les gens comprennent qu'il y a des règles à comment interagir, tu sais, admettons, là, il va y avoir des règlements ou des normes ou des procédures à comment, admettons, recruter des gens pour l'armée et comment cette armée-là va se déployer sur un territoire étranger, par exemple. Mais il n'y a pas des règlements, des normes ou des protocoles pour comment on interagit pour être des gens qui savent comment vivre ensemble.
So the two world wampum then establishes an order, a structure within every individual's mind.
Donc, le Wampum Azuwa, ce que ça fait, c'est que ça établit une structure et un ordre dans l'esprit de chacune et chacun.
It eliminates the corruption of politicians.
Et de là, ça élimine la corruption des politiciens.
Because then the law, the rule, the order is in everybody's mind and they must function that way.
Parce qu'à ce moment-là, la règle ou l'ordre se trouve dans l'esprit de la personne et alors ils savent comment interagir selon cet ordre-là.
And what you have explained is it's the exact same thing as the purpose for or of the Great Law of Peace.
Et ce que vous venez de décrire, c'est exactement le même but ou en fait la même raison d'être de la grande loi de la paix, d'où le Wampum Aduwa découle.
We know that within each of us, there's an order that we all live by or follow. There's a law within us, whether we are aware of it or not, our bodies function under a law.
Et nous le savons que notre corps même, il y a une structure, il y a un ordre, et c'est ça qui permet que notre corps fonctionne, peu importe si on en est conscient ou pas.
And the fact is if we decide to go outside of that rule or order or law, that could actually then kill us.
Et le fait, c'est que si nous décidons consciemment de sortir de cet ordre-là, ben à ce moment-là, on met en péril le corps, même peut-être en danger de mort.
So the purpose, the intent of Great Law of Peace, and by evolution, the purpose and intent of Two Row Wampum is to extrapolate the law within each of us into the collective.
Et donc, le but de la grande loi de la paix et de son extension, qui est le Wampum à deux voix, c'est de extrapoler l'évolution à tout ce qui nous entoure.
So when we think of today, from non-native science, it identifies how the human brain functions.
Et par exemple, aujourd'hui, la science non autochtone va nous dire comment que le cerveau fonctionne.
That you know that within the human brain, the neurons can't function on their own. The brain can't function on just one neuron. It needs this neuron connecting with the other one, and that one connecting with the other one, and all of them connecting and interacting and having a collective power and energy to be able to affect its order, its law into the world.
Et grâce à cette connaissance-là, nous savons que, tu sais, dans le cerveau, là, il ne va pas avoir juste une neurone qu'elle toute seule va tout faire, puis va tout faire fonctionner le cerveau. On le sait que ce sont justement les petits ponts entre les différents neurones, les synapses qui vont agir à titre de pont de communication et qui vont allumer chaque neurone qui va interagir entre toutes elles. Et c'est ça ce qui va faire le fonctionnement correct du cerveau.
So the law of the human brain is to constantly be expanding. Every neuron must be seeking out other neurons to expand collective consciousness. And so this is extrapolated into each human, from the individual into a family, into a clan, into a house, into a nation, and into international relations.
Et donc, justement, pour que le cerveau se garde en santé, ben, c'est la responsabilité de toutes les neurones d'aller chercher justement ces connexions avec les autres. À même titre, nous, en tant qu'individus, c'est de notre responsabilité de chercher les connexions au niveau de notre famille, au niveau de notre voisinage, au niveau de notre famille élargie, de notre nation, de nos communautés, du monde, afin que toutes nos relations soient justement en direction de construire quelque chose de bon.
So we see you, we hear your words, and we recognize them. We see ourselves within them.
Et donc, on vous voit et on reconnaît vos paroles, elles sont entendues et reçues et on nous voit en vous.
But as you know, this does not exist beyond you into your politicians, into your government. It does not exist.
Mais comme nous le savons, ben ça, là, ça n'existe pas dans le domaine de vos politiciens, des gouvernements, etc., là.
So the human becomes co-opted, covered up by something that claims to be government, claims to be rule or law or whatever it claims to be, but loses the human to become something else that every human that's then governed under it doesn't want that to happen. They end up protesting everything about their government. So it shows us that the systems of governance is an enslavement of humanity.
Et donc, c'est comme si le gouvernement était quelque chose qui va recouvrir l'humain, puis va empêcher que l'humain puisse émerger, parce que, ben, on le sait, dans les relations humaines, ben, tout le monde est là, mais quand il s'agit de domaines justement de politique, là, c'est comme si l'humain il ne peut pas percer à travers de cette chose-là qu'il a recouvert.
But humans are not designed for enslavement. Humans are not designed to be controlled, to be governed over.
Mais les humains, là, n'ont pas été désignés pour être des esclaves, là, ou pour être contrôlés ou gouvernés.
And so we recognize what you identify, what the purpose is of your organization.
Donc, nous reconnaissons vos buts et la raison d'être de votre organisation.
When we consider like a neuron seeking out other neurons so it can connect and exchange information, so they can expand its consciousness from 1 to 2 to 3 till we have a collective consciousness where we all know the same thing and we're not divided in me thinking this and wondering what the heck you're thinking.
Et si nous agissons comme les neurones, ben à ce moment-là, on va aller chercher des connexions un peu partout pour élargir nos connaissances, pour créer des échanges qui vont nous permettre de nous comprendre et pas qu'on soit complètement isolé en silo et qu'on se demande, mais comment se fait-il qu'elle ou il pense de même?
So when we have proper relations, proper human relations, then collectively we are empowered.
Et quand que nous avons des relations humaines adéquates, ben à ce moment-là, tout le monde est en puissance.
And you think of the term empowerment.
Et si nous réfléchissons ça, est-ce que ça veut dire être en puissance, tu sais, si ça existe là?
If it's a neuron seeking out other neurons and by connecting with them and learning, gaining knowledge, then knowledge is the empowerment. But you think of if you're making that connection and there's no exchange of knowledge, no communication, then it's like there's no purpose to being alive.
Parce que s'il y a une neurone qui a beaucoup d'informations en elle, puis il y a une autre, mais il n'y a pas justement cette synapsis qui se fait pour pouvoir partager cette information, pour pouvoir l'échanger et pouvoir faire que cette connaissance-là prenne un autre niveau, ben alors, ça sert à quoi l'expérience humaine, là?
So clearly, what governments have done to humans is it's reduced us from this collective consciousness into individual, where then the government can then take anything it wants from this individual, that individual, because we're not collective in our knowledge, we're not empowered.
Et donc, c'est exactement ça ce que le gouvernement a fait. Il a décidé, ben, en fait, on va séparer les neurones, il n'y aura plus de synapses, les neurones vont être à l'aise où elles sont, mais à ce moment-là, il n'y a plus d'interaction, donc il n'y a plus de relation humaine comme ça se doit.
So we think of like a toaster. If you plug the toaster into the outlet, you expect it to have power so you can toast. But if the neuron's making connection to another one and there's no interaction, then it's like plugging in the toaster to an outlet that has no power. We're not going to have toast.
Et si nous pensons à un toaster, un bon québécois, à un grille-pain, là, et que nous essayons de le connecter au mur justement pour qu'il puisse avoir du courant électrique là, pour qu'il puisse fonctionner, et ça fonctionne pas, ben on va essayer d'aller chercher un autre endroit où on puisse le connecter pour que, finalement, on puisse avoir des toasts.
So we see what you have stated, the purpose, the intent, the desire is that you want to make toast.
Et donc, si on sait que le désir, c'est de faire des toasts,
Well, so do we.
ben nous aussi.
So we see the purpose of this interaction between the humans.
Et donc, on voit l'intérêt, en fait, le but de cette interaction entre humains.
And a proper two-role wampum interaction is that we share our collective knowledge.
Et dans une relation Wampum du voix de la bonne façon, c'est que nous partageons notre connaissance.
So just to get right to the chase here, to cut through all the red tape, we'll identify that as the summer moves on, we will have interaction with each other. Your group will come here, we'll share with you things of our knowledge, and then one other time we'll go to a gathering wherever your group decides, and you'll share and interact your knowledge with us. And this way, collectively, we'll gain knowledge of each other, we'll understand each other, we'll know what makes each other tick, we'll have a relationship that has not been here for the past 500 years.
Et là, pour aller direct au point, là, ben oui, lorsque l'été va avancer, ben on va pouvoir vous inviter, venir ici au terrain de la Maison Longue pour partager. Ensuite, vous allez pouvoir nous inviter à un événement que vous allez faire, je sais pas où, mais on va y aller. Et comme ça, on va commencer à avoir justement cette interaction d'une bonne relation Wampum du voix que ça fait je sais pas combien de temps qu'on n'a pas vu.
Example of like the opening dialogue, what I introduced there, I'm pretty sure there's people within your organization that could share information and knowledge about what I spoke about. And then we could share information and knowledge about it that perhaps you don't have on that level. And then collectively, we'll be smarter together.
Et par exemple, si on revient à l'ouverture que j'ai faite, je suis certain qu'il y aurait des gens de votre groupe qui pourraient ajouter des informations pour donner d'autant plus d'éclaircissements sur un sujet donné de l'ouverture et que en faisant ça, ben, ça déclencherait d'autres réflexions et comme ça, la connaissance grandit et c'est un processus qui est tellement beau de voir.
So again, this is what you have stated is precisely what the purpose and the intent is of the two-row wampum. Something that we had extended to your ancestors 450 10 years ago.
Et donc, c'est exactement ça l'essence de l'esprit du Wampum voix, quelque chose qu'on a étendu à vos ancêtres il y a 404 ans?
410.
Ah, 410.
So without your government standing in the way, we could have had, imagine where our collective knowledge would have been even just 100 years, 200 years ago, 300 years ago. Imagine where we could be now. We could be evolved into this futuristic envision of society, this utopian society. We could have been that a long time ago.
Et imaginez si vos gouvernements ne se seraient pas mis en plein milieu de nos relations comme ça, là où qu'on serait il y a, je sais pas moi, 100, 200, 300 ans, là, à quel niveau d'évolution qu'on se trouverait.
So we're very happy to hear what you have stated.
Et donc, on est vraiment content d'avoir entendu ce que vous avez dit.
Even every native person across the country, whether or not they're aware of the two-row wampum or not, they have extended their hand hundreds of years ago to have this type of relationship with the non-native people.
Et chaque personne, en fait, autour du pays, chaque personne autochtone a étendu leurs mains avec le wampum à du voix à vous de cette façon.
So it is what you have stated is 500 years in the making. And we say Nyawagoa, that finally a generation in the non-native world has come to realize this.
Donc, ce que vous avez dit, et ça fait 500 ans que ça se prépare et qu'on l'attend. Donc, la seule chose qu'on peut dire, c'est bon, finalement, la génération qui est prête pour le faire.
So we can't wait for these relations to continue beyond this point of introduction tonight, because when you come here to have a barbecue and we're all here in a nice relaxed atmosphere, the things we're going to talk about, the things that we're going to share and learn, it's going to be mind expanding for all of us.
Et donc, quand que vous allez venir et on va avoir un barbecue ensemble, on va partager, on va converser, bien, tout ce qui va émerger de là, là, ça va complètement nous éclater les esprits.
So we welcome this, we welcome you with open arms to engage in this relationship.
Et donc, on vous ouvre les bras bien ouverts là pour vous donner la bienvenue à cette relation.
Just make sure on your end, you keep those crazy politicians out of the way from our relation.
Juste assurez-vous de garder les politiciens complètement fous en dehors de nos relations.
Okay, so I don't know if there's anything that you want to respond to that, or if there's somebody else present within your group that wants to address from there. It's up to you. I really can't see if anybody's got their hand up or.
Donc, je ne sais pas si vous voulez donner une réponse, réitérer quelque chose par rapport à ça, ou si quelqu'un de votre groupe voudrait faire ça. Je ne sais pas s'il y a quelqu'un qui a levé la main. Ah oui, Jean-Sébastien, ça va, a levé sa main.
Hi. I just wanted to say thank you for the invitation, and I look forward for all the others meeting. And just to be sure, is it okay if I come once in a while in those Zoom to learn more about all of you? Just asking before doing it.
Ben, d'abord, je veux dire merci de l'invitation et j'ai hâte à tous ces échanges qu'on va avoir. Et là, je voudrais juste demander si c'est correct que je puisse venir de temps à autre à ce type de zone. Je voulais justement demander avant juste de me pointer comme ça, là.
Yes, you are more than welcome. This is the reason why we do these Zooms, to have interaction. It's just that if people aren't tuned into it yet. It's like a new thing to people. So yes, anytime, you're welcome.
Oui, bien sûr, c'est pour ça que ces Zooms-là ont été créés, justement pour avoir ce type d'interaction. C'est juste que c'est comme si les gens ne sont pas encore tout à fait syntonisés à ça, que c'est comme quelque chose de nouveau, là. Mais bien sûr, n'importe quand, le plus bienvenu.
And just so you know, it's everything that we do, like via Zoom, in social media. It's designed for knowledge sharing.
Et tout ce que nous faisons sur les médias sociaux, là, le but, la finalité, c'est pour le partage de connaissances, justement.
So there's every Wednesday and every Saturday at 7 o'clock, 7 p.m., we have this interaction. And then every second Sunday, approximately, it goes with the moon, that we have another interaction at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, throughout Turtle Island, North and South, with the original peoples to return traditional knowledge. So you, anyone, is welcome to attend and to observe within that Sunday Zoom also.
Et donc, nous avons un Zoom les mercredis et un autre les samedis soir à 7 heures, à partir de 19 heures. Et il y a un autre aussi à toutes les presque du dimanche, là, parce que ça va avec le cycle de la Lune, qui est pour communiquer justement avec les peuples du Sud. Donc, tout le monde est le plus bienvenu à observer et à observer l'interaction justement entre les peuples autochtones.
Yeah. And I would say the Wednesday and the Saturday Zooms, they're more about they're more kind of political. As you hear, we're addressing right now this environmental issue here in Ganawagi. So it's more like on that level, but the Sunday one, it's all about ancient knowledge. It's all about knowledge sharing, wisdom. That is really the mind-blowing one. It blows my mind every time.
Et je dirais que les Zooms de mercredi et samedi soir sont beaucoup plus axés comme sur le politique, là, un peu comme ce qu'on vient de dire par rapport à Terre pure, des choses comme ça. Mais les dimanches, c'est un peu plus sur justement le partage des connaissances anciennes qui se préservent encore. Donc, pour moi, là, c'est celui qui me fait éclater mon esprit à chaque fois, en tout cas, là.
I don't know if you have anything you want to address on that, or if there's anybody else with you that wants to address anything.
Donc, je ne sais pas si vous voulez dire quelque chose d'autre, s'il y avait quelqu'un d'autre. Est-ce que Luc, tu voulais dire quelque chose d'autre?
Oui, ben simplement à nouveau remercier pour l'écoute, pour l'accueil. Je sens une belle réception d'envie, c'est ce qu'on recherchait. So I'm really pleased to for this reception and for this first step. That's what we're looking for, an opening to that, and that's what I'm hearing, a good opening. Um, and I will just put in parentheses. Uh, I think I will say, I'll talk to myself, but I think I talk for all the people of our organization. We really don't think that any government at any level can anyhow make any good relation with First Nation. They burn it and they're not in their system. We cannot expect anything good from any government regarding First Nation. So I think the only way we have to create relation, and the only way is from people, from the base. It's never gonna work well from government. So I would like to say that.
From the top.
To finally, je voudrais dire que on croit vraiment que le gouvernement, on ne croit pas qu'aucun gouvernement, aucun palier de gouvernement peut rétablir ou créer des liens corrects avec les Premières Nations. L'histoire nous le démontre, puis ça n'arrivera pas. Fait que ça doit être les citoyens qui doivent créer ces ponts-là. Euh, donc, c'est un peu dans cette démarche-là qu'on est. Et alors, je termine là-dessus. Moi, c'est beau, j'ai dit ce que j'avais à dire, puis c'est ça, si Sylvie ou d'autres veulent parler pour compléter ou des choses, je les invite. Mais sinon, juste merci beaucoup. Bonsoir.
So I said what I had to say. So if anybody else would like to say anything else, more than welcome. If not, I'll leave you with that. And thank you very much again and have a great evening.
Well, I'll tell you, this is very good. We have had relations, as you know, with the non-native people for the last 500 years. It's not just something that our ancestors 500 years ago had. With us, it's a continuum. It's knowledge that is passed down as to what the relations have been, who's it been with, all of that. It's all recorded and is all passed down within our continuum.
Mais quant à nous, ça fait 500 ans que nous avons une relation avec les nains autochtones. Ce n'est pas comme s'ils sont arrivés puis c'était nos ancêtres et puis là, du coup, il n'y a plus rien. Non, non, c'est vraiment une connaissance de nos relations qui a été transmise génération après génération.
So this is within the continuum that has been passed down to us. This is a breath of fresh air. It's something new. It's not something that has been there in the past. So it's as opposed to being in the adversarial relations we've been in, it's let's make friends. Let's be friends. This is what humanity is all about. We have a lot to celebrate in this connection.
Et ça, dans la continuité, c'est justement comme une bouffée d'air frais là, qui n'était pas là avant, là. Donc, nous avons une raison pour célébrer ça.
So, Lucy, this has been a long time in the coming. We've seen you doing a lot of work, connections, whatever you have done out there, and the work is coming to fruition. So we gotta say thank you to you. Now we'll go to you, and I'll just go to you, Lucy. How do you feel now?
Donc, Lucie, ça fait longtemps que ça travaille là. Donc, si c'est vraiment grâce à toi que nous avons cette connexion aujourd'hui. Tu as fait du travail de tous les bords. Puis, en fait, moi, je voudrais te demander comment que toi, tu te sens en ce moment.
Ce fut une magnifique journée. Ça a commencé avec vous à midi. J'étais heureuse de voir M. Green nous aider parce que M. Green a travaillé avec nous lors du Forum social en 2009.
Oh, wow. It was a great day today. First, it started at noon with you. I was so glad to be able to see Mr. Green with you because we actually worked with Mr. Green in the World Social Forum that we had in 2009.
And aussi, je suis heureuse de ce qui se passe ce soir parce que je savais que c'était pour cliquer. C'est vraiment des gens formidables. Et puis, j'avais hâte que vous les rencontriez. Ben, en fait, je voulais pas les garder juste pour moi, comme amis.
And I am so happy of tonight because I knew it would work. I knew it would do a good match because I know it is really great people and I really wanted you to. It's like if I didn't really want it just to keep them for myself.
Well, look, just on this one thing that you said about good for you to see Daniel Green today. We started working with Daniel Green, I think maybe even in the 90s, possibly.
Et bien, quand tu dis, tu as travaillé avec Daniel Green dans le passé, ben nous, je pense que nous avons commencé à travailler avec lui dans les années 90, si je ne me trompe pas, là.
So now I liken it to be sort of like if you're following your GPS on your car, you're going to get somewhere and it's telling you these routes. But what if you discovered or you knew that there was a shortcut, that there was an avenue that you could take that doesn't show up on GPS? So tonight, just you identifying about Daniel Green and the connection to us, something that we didn't know of each other in the past. Now we know of a shortcut between us. So
Wow.
now we know more pathways, more avenues. The world is getting bigger or smaller for us.
Et donc, c'est un peu quand on prend le GPS, là, puis il nous suggère, je ne sais pas combien de routes, là, mais elles sont super longues, là, puis là, du coup, on se rappelle, ah, ben ici, là, si on prend cette petite rue-là, là, ah, ben là, on va aller plus vite. Donc là, c'est justement ça un peu, là, le fait que tu mentionnes Daniel, puis que nous travaillons avec lui, là, c'est comme, ah, c'est le raccourci, donc le monde, il commence soit à se faire plus large ou un petit peu plus petit.
Je suis vraiment heureuse et puis je suis convaincue qu'il va y avoir de très bons échanges et j'ai hâte au barbecue.
So I am so happy and I'm truly convinced that we are going to have very beautiful exchanges and I am just so looking forward for this barbecue to come.
Okay, the barbecue, just so that you know that we don't have to be wondering, the barbecue is going to be somewhere around the planting.
Et donc, juste pour pas qu'on se demande, ah, quand est-ce que ça pourrait être, ben, le barbecue devrait se passer à quelque part autour de la plantation.
So the seed and medicine ceremony is coming very soon, maybe within 2 to 3 weeks max. And then the planting is within a week or two max after that. So we can look forward to having our first interaction barbecue here on Longhouse grounds within a moon.
Et
Oh,
donc, notre cérémonie
oui.
de la préparation des semences et des médecines, ça va se passer bientôt, là, je ne sais pas, peut-être dans 2, 3 semaines. Et après ça, la cérémonie de plantation se passe normalement dans 1 ou 2 semaines après. Donc, on peut regarder à un barbecue d'ici à une lune, peut-être.
And us too, we can't wait for that because we want neural activity.
Et nous aussi, on a très hâte, là, parce que nous aimons ça, l'activité neuronale.
As it is right now in the non-native world, there's no neural activity between us. So there's like we said, if there's no neural activity, it's like, what's the point to life? What are we doing with our lives?
Ah, il va capoter quand il va entendre les neurones.
Parce que les choses étant comme elles sont, si, tu sais, dans le monde autochtone, là, si on n'a pas d'interaction, on est juste là, ben, à quoi ça sert, là? C'est quoi notre but dans la vie, là?
Okay, if there's anybody who is observing this, any of the other people that are present, if there's anything that anybody wants to address, if you want to say something, if you detected something or anything that anyone might wanna ask a question or anything, we'll give that opportunity right now. And if there isn't, then we are gonna have to move on from this subject.
Et donc, s'il y a quelqu'un qui est en train d'observer, qui voudrait dire de quoi, ou quelqu'un qui voudrait tout simplement ajouter quelque chose, ben, on va le faire. Et sinon, on doit tout simplement passer à ce qui suit.
My battery's dying.
Uh-huh.
I don't know, where's my charger cable?
Janet raised her
Okay.
hand. There's Janet raising her hand.
Okay, let's go to Janet. Sorry, we're scrambling here to plug my computer in. We're gonna die.
Oui, donc l'ordinateur à Stuart, il meurt, mais là, on l'a sauvé.
Sego Sewa Guego. Hi, everybody. Janet Jungiats. Gray with Ni Waxanazale. Waxgale Vage. Aget Nista. Gaha. Ne Teresa. Danu. Agokstanha. Ne Gajicho Wanta. Dizani de Lunda Que. Ne Aquadule. Ne Ganawage. Yueso. Awandu. Ne Gawadahun Sadade, ne Longhouse, Dano, Stewart Dano, Oquego, Rona, 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 Rona Dazo, Rona Darosa. Sorry about that. So I introduced myself in the matrilineal way in the language of my grandma, which is Kanyankehaga language. My mother is Teresa. My grandma is Gajichawanta. And I'm just happy to be here. It's nice to listen to Stuart and everyone on the platform tonight. That's basically what I said. So anyway, Stuart, I'm in a way what I want to talk about relates to kind of what these people that just currently talked of. So even though my experience is in a different place and a different avenue, I see there's some kind of relation. So I don't know if this is the right time to bring it up or,
We're there now.
Okay. So so today was a very strange day. I wound up going out to do some routine errands, and on the way back, I did not expect to be at the city council office in Ithaca, New York. In the course of the events during the earlier part of the day, I received an email from this committee for Palestine, Justice for Palestine committee. And in it, they had said that $75,000 might be going towards tactical forces for police department, and that they were doing a what would you call it? A public. They wanted to hear from the public, you know.
Consultation,
Huh?
consultation process.
Yeah, I guess you would call it that. So anyway, it was a very strange experience. I kind of would say I guess what happened was I was walking in lieu of the great law of peace, the peacemaker, Jagunsaze, without even realizing it till later. So I just wanted to briefly read my statement. I couldn't attend the public hearing because it was at 5:30, and I have to take a bus to get home, and so I couldn't. The timing was off. I couldn't make the council hearing. So they said, well, you could write in, you could email in. So I said, okay, and they gave me the code to do that. So anyway, the first email I got today, which kind of blew my head, it said Ithaca City Common Council will vote on Wednesday the 8th whether to accept 75,000 grant for Department of Homeland Security to purchase military gear for unmanned aerial systems, night vision binoculars, ballistic helmets, as well as fund a SWAT team, to fund SWAT team labor. The town that I live in, it's pretty small. I would wonder why they would need anything like that. But anyway, so I went into the city council building, and there was a guy at the desk. And then after the desk, there was a metal detector, and if you were to go inside, which I wasn't planning to do, and he had a gun. He wasn't dressed as a police officer, so I knew he was private contract. And seeing the gun kind of like really threw me back, like almost physically, like I could feel myself like, whoa, you know. So long story short, I sent in my response, and if it's okay if I read it, it's not going to take very long. It's not that long.
Go ahead. Let's do
but
it.
but the point that I'm trying to make here, it relates to what was said earlier about the people not really having a voice in government. And so I'm just really kind of baffled in a way because of the presentation that was just done. And earlier you were talking about, you know, how the great law works and how people don't even know sometimes, or a lot of the times, or whatever the case may be. But so anyway, this is what I wrote. So to the City Council of Ithaca, why, in big letters and then regular letters, are we gradually militarizing our police departments, not just in Ithaca, but elsewhere, everywhere else, while cutting back on social help on all levels? Yet Israel gets billions every year, the military industrial complex also. Trump has sent huge sums of money to Argentina, where Israelis are pushing indigenous off their own inherent land. What is the point to all of this? So many people are hidden in homelessness and drugs, obscured from society, social ills made available through corruption. Not right. So why are those in high places militarizing the police when they are and have caused the disarray we see in these lands since 1492? There is a better way to live and a better way of dealing with social problems. You just have to be open to better solutions and realize that money isn't everything, nor is violence or war, or seeing life only in one way. Humanity must curtail itself from the violence, the war, the overconsumption, and addictions. We must consider the children and the Mother Earth. What will be left behind? What will be left in 7 generations to come? Why all the surveillance? What are you trying to do? Using predictive behavior surveillance does not tell the truth. What are your real goals? You cannot tell me that the people are the ones bringing this on. That's a lie. It is the technocrats. It is a social and individual control. Some humans have some humans who are standing over the rest of the people. That is what is slowly happening. It is not a fair or humane. Unless you can tell all of the citizens publicly the truth as to why you want more militarization, and if it is a good idea, and whether it is a good idea. I do not support this proposal of 75,000 for tactical gear. It is not the poor who is creating the social ills. Signed, J. Gray, Waxcalera Gray. Living on Gayokono space in the area code of 14850. So I just felt that I needed to take a stand and do something amidst all the, all the craziness that's happening in the world. Haven't really been able to do much in my own life in terms of helping people, since where I've moved is very isolated. So I felt that this was something that that I could at least make a voice. And in that process today, the council clerk came out to give me the link so that I could make a comment, and she actually got into a conversation with me and asked me to join their council to come up with solutions, better solutions. And I even asked the the contracted private security man about, how I felt when I saw his gun, and that when I was a kid growing up, we never saw this. And I asked him, how does it make him feel to carry that gun? Like there's no reason for him. And I said, there's no reason for you to carry it. How does it make you feel? And he kind of copped out and said, well, everybody's doing it. The state troopers are making us do it. And then he said, well, I can't really tell you now because it would be a long conversation and I'm on the job and, I can't give my personal. But, I at least felt like maybe I planted a seed. I can't say that I did. I can't say that I didn't. But, it was just one of those crazy things, and my point to the council is that it's not the people that are making these decisions it's the technocrats. And that's what I'm hoping to get something across to the people in that building, that the controls, are not coming from the people, when that's, where it should be. Anyway, I thank you for letting me.
Well, I see the direct connection to what's happening right here in Ganawagi. It's happening in New York City. It's happening in Montreal. It's happening everywhere. There's a slow militarization of what we believe to be civilian level operations, but we see it militarizing. Just like here in Ganawagi, they're increasing the police force, and the more that the police in Ganawagi stop people for speeding or doing this or running a stop sign or whatever, then they put out public statements saying that they're making the community safer. This is not true. Like you said, it's the technocrats, it's the bureaucrats within democracy that it's within the nature of their job to do the exact opposite of what we said neural activity is. They go out to cage it. They'll find a place that doesn't have rules yet, like in the middle of the bush, in the middle of the forest. Oh, they'll say, okay, yeah, the cops got to be there on four-wheelers. Then that takes away from the freedom of the people being able to enter or to conduct themselves freely. So what it all is everywhere is it's a bureaucratic how would I identify this? It's a bureaucratic expansionism of tyranny, where the regular structure of society doesn't have these like invasions of our properties or invasion of ourselves and stuff like this. But then they create a federal program that creates ICE. And then our individual freedoms are then squelched. When, wait a minute, there was a police force there already. Then you put something on top of it that the bureaucrats create, or like you said, the technocrats, because that's their job. It's the exact opposite of the good relations, like what our new friends are here tonight to present. It's the exact opposite. It would be like them coming here to say, okay, we're here to now manage what you're doing, and it's going to give you more freedom, but we're managing it, and we need more money to manage it. So it is obviously a federal program that invades the state and the local, and invades you, the taxpayer, or anywhere the taxpayer, to then have to fund something that is already funded under local taxation. Local taxation already creates police forces. But then this federal program, then they want to come and they got to do a funding drive. That's a violation of the tax regime already, of the tax system that's there. And all it does is it creates more restrictions upon the humanity. And as there's more restrictions upon us, then we're wiggling around, like trying to wiggle around in a more confined space, and every wiggle, every movement is viewed by them as being illegal. And everybody then in exercising or just trying to be free is then criminalized. So what I would suggest that you do is I would suggest that you do exactly like what's happening here tonight with our new friends, is to reach out and to make connections so that other people know and hear what you're saying, what you're going through, what you're experiencing. I would suggest that you do a short synopsis of your day, even to say how it just happened, how you didn't intend this, you were going out to do whatever, and then all of a sudden it turns into this. Make a short synopsis of it, put it in your social media, and share it. And I'll bet you it's like going fishing. You're going to get a bite. Somebody else is going to say, yeah, me too. I noticed the same thing. And yeah, why should we be doing this? And why should they be seeking more funding when our tax dollars are already paying for this? Again, it would be building the collective knowledge. And again, is the more collective knowledge, the more empowerment of the people to be able to stand against such tyranny. Because what is happening through something like ICE or expanding a local police force to become militarized, this is, like we've been saying for years, it's the martial line of the people. And it's just democracy. It's designed to go that way. But let's say if it takes 50 years for it to get there, well, in the first 40 years, everybody's just happy. Oh, democracy, it's freedom. It's not freedom. Where you got bureaucrats in charge, there's never any freedom. Because bureaucrats, their job is to, like any politician, is just to create more laws. Who the hell ever voted in anybody to say, hey, can you make more laws to restrict our movements more? Like here in Ganawagi, they're buying ATC four-wheelers for the cops so that they can go in the bush and now bother our children that are in the bush just four-wheeling around. They're not robbing banks. They're not out there doing anything illegal. But then once you get a cop out there on a four-wheeler, then they're doing something illegal. Because of the laws that the bureaucrats sitting in here in Ganawagi in that ban system are sitting there doing, oh yeah, look, here's a law. Here's something we can put in place that we can squeeze more money out of the people. We can make this illegal and we can put this fine upon these people so that we can get this much more money out of them. It's a business. And when we consider right now, like you said about that, you mentioned about the dollars going to things like where did you say in the South? What country did you identify?
Oh, Argentina.
Argentina. Like, why would tax dollars from local in upstate New York, why would it be going to funding the oppression of people in Argentina? Why would tax dollars local from here in Montreal, why would it be going to bombing people in Palestine? The bureaucracy of democracy it's a double whammy upon people. As we said, as you know, that democracy is a self-inflicted state of schizophrenia. Throw in bureaucracy on top of that, then you got a double schizophrenia. So just imagine how crazy schizophrenia would be, and then double it. More crazy world. What we need to do is we need to simplify our world. We need to simplify it where the people are empowered, where the people are the ones that have to build the relations, and we got to get these goddamn bureaucrats, not just the politicians, out of the goddamn way. Bureaucrats are strangling the entire world. So this is what we identified before. People don't know about this, you know, like in Greek mythology. This is what the non-native world is following. They're following the Greek mythology of democracy. And what they don't know is that there's the evil twins of bureaucraties and democracies. They're the evil twins that have enslaved the world. But they think the world thinks it's good because it's democracy. When they don't understand what democracy is. Who in this world would be screaming for, let's have democracy, when you know what the origins of democracy is, what it meant? The enslavement of people, where women are not even a citizen, where they're to be bought and sold, and people can say, well, this is 2026. Hey, are women not still being bought and sold in 2026? What enables that is democracy. So there are the evil twins out there that is the shadow government of bureaucraties and democracies. And they're killing the people. They're strangling the people. You know, when Trump said they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats of the people who live there? No. They're eating the dogs, they're killing the dogs, and they're killing the cats and the people that live there. That's what they're doing. It's all against the people. Democracy is always been against the people. So anyways, that's what I suggest that you do, Janet, that you do a synopsis of your day, of what your experience was, put it out there, and like I said, it'll be the equivalent of going fishing. Somebody's gonna bite, and you're gonna get somebody else who's gonna say, oh yeah. And if you went from 1, 2, 3, they're gonna add on 4, 5, 6. And then somebody else is gonna come along and put 7, 8, 9 on there. Starting from the one that you took the initiative to put out there. Yeah, so anyways, and y'all will go off for that because your text made me remember, made me on or discover about what you identify about again, was it Argentina? I don't know why
Yeah.
I keep Paraguay. You didn't even say Paraguay. Why the hell would I be thinking that? So anyways, yeah, you make me think of this now. How it all, something that factors in. It's like if we got a puzzle with 100 pieces, and while we put 99 on there, and it kind of looks really good, but there's one piece missing. You know, without that one piece, there's a hole there. And that hole, it's like a vacuum. That it just, no matter how much the 99 other pieces look good, that vacuum right there, that hole, takes away from the other 99. Yeah, so yeah, now we'll go, Janet.
Now we'll go with Isa.
Okay, if there's anybody else that wants to address anything that was said, if not, we're gonna have to move on. Okay then, all right. What we're gonna address is we're gonna continue addressing what took place today about what I opened up with about identifying what's happening here in Ganawagi. Okay, so we're gonna just go into what was kind of lightly addressed today about a class action suit that in the discussion it came out that it could be an official body, or it could be a person, could be a group of people. Even it was said it could be the Ganyaga Land Defenders. And I identified that through our court case that we lodged ourselves, that's currently in the so-called Supreme Court of Canada, that we could also utilize the knowledge that we gain in self-representation to not use lawyers. There is a benefit, a greater benefit, to not using lawyers. Because let's say if the ban system got lawyers to take a lawsuit, whatever, you know, or do whatever, well, there's underlying reasons, purposes, whatever, you know. And they got to use lawyers, and the lawyers then factor in because of money that sometimes you got to take the shortcut instead of taking the scenic route. Sometimes you want to take the scenic route, not that shortcut. But because you got a lawyer, it's more expensive, so you got to take the shortcut. And if you take the shortcut, then you're going to miss possibility of missing things. So everybody, I'm sure you know that our position here is to not use lawyers for anything. Okay, so in this vein, we say that, or just present that we initiate a process of where the people are taking the initiative of taking the legal action themselves. Now this, for us, there is a factor of the two-row wampum. There is a way right now that we can take the legal action ourselves and bring in or draw in the two-row wampum, where right now, as you know, the government, the system, the politicians, the legal system wants to deny the two-row wampum. So if the people took the action in identifying somewhere, you know, in the legal action, saying in lieu of the two-row wampum being recognized and actively being worked against by the government and the courts and all of this, we are forced to take this action so that it's not that nobody can come along and say, well, two-row wampum, you're not supposed to use lawyers, you're not supposed to go into their court. Yeah, we're not using lawyers, but right now, if we don't go into their court and take this action, then TerraPure will be allowed to continue in its in what it's doing, in polluting not only the minds of our children, but the minds of all the non-native people in Côte St. Catherine, in Delson, and even, like as Perry identified many times, across the river in LaSalle, in Verdun, and even as the way the wind blows, you could say right into Longueuil, Brossard, and the south of Montreal. What is that there? That area where we go? Saint, where you used to work?
Point Saint Charles.
Point St. Charles. So all that area, all along the river on the north and the south shore, is being affected and poisoned by TerraPure. Our action, if we take this path, it could draw in people from all these areas. It could even draw in the actual official governments in those areas. So for this, we got to have people, somebody to like to say it's the Ganyangahaga land defenders. Well, there's got to be somebody there to represent, because somebody has to be doing the speaking in court. Somebody has to be there to sign a document, you know, that kind of stuff. Okay, so for this, again, the fact that we took our case to the Supreme Court, it's given us a lot of knowledge about how the functions of the court, of how to navigate it. Okay, so I don't know, is Mary Claude there? Is she here with us? Mary
Yes,
Claude?
she is.
Okay, so this is the reason why we asked Mary Claude to be with us tonight, because it just so happens that by osmosis, she becomes an expert, pretty much an expert in the field now, of individuals taking action or within the court. Okay, so because I had a little bit of conversation with her via email, she identified to me that she's already started the research and even kind of like a template. Okay, Mary Claude, no need in me going on. You can just come in and say where we are or where you are right now in that your research or whatever.
Nyamagoa, Skanagoa, everyone. Happy to be here and acknowledge everything that was shared tonight. Very powerful. So, Nyamagoa. I am Marie-Claude, great-granddaughter of Marie-Louise, granddaughter of Yvette, daughter of Francine, and I'm acting in support of the two-row wampum and in support of the great law of peace. So, yes, so really, I was very curious to see how this could be approached because of the experience now at the Supreme Court. Of course, there were a lot of lodging of documents, and it's every case is different. I have no past experience in law or anything like that. I think it plays in our favor that way, though, to just completely stay open to all possibilities. But now that our leave to appeal is officially lodged at the Supreme Court, we're basically anyways waiting. So what I found basically looking into the TerraPure situation, just to say right from the get-go, it was acknowledged tonight, it's absolutely urgent and of the highest seriousness. It really is directly involving intoxication of children right next to the plant itself. And I mean, I'm not an expert in lead, but I mean, if it's landing across the street, if we think of all the wind patterns, the big winds we receive, what happened with lead? Is it then sprayed all over? It's a really big concern. And well, what I could see is that we would actually lodge paperwork at the Superior Court. What we would actually lodge is an urgent motion for interim injunction to protect public health and safety pursuant to Article 1098 CCQ. So from my research, it's the way to go. We would first file that because what we want is to urgently stop the activities at Terra Pure because we want to protect the children, we want to protect the entire community of Ganawage, and this is the fastest way. Once this is lodged, I have it, it's pretty close to being ready, but now that I was today at the Zoom too, I was listening on the Facebook Live, what took place today. It's now including class action suit, and then we need to sorry, we need to add a few things in our motion 1098, just to announce that we would also intend on lodging a class action. So I have it pretty much ready, and I can share it tonight. But as soon as this is filed, we would then call the clerk at the Superior Court. So this is lodged at the Superior Court straight there. We don't start from lower courts. We go to the Superior Court. And we need to then, once this is lodged, we call the clerk of the Superior Court and we say that we request an urgent hearing because every day makes things worse. And so we want to make that clear to the judge and so obtain the closure of the Terra Pure plant. Of course, at first temporarily to address the situation because there are so many things that were reported in relation to Terra Pure and contamination in the environment. They have allegedly put lead into the St. Lawrence River, and the government of Canada is actually suing them as we speak. It hasn't been resolved, but it's very serious. So they demonstrated in many ways that there are very serious contamination that they are discharging in the environment, and this is illegal. So then when we call them afterwards, then we make sure that we get that hearing as fast as possible. I don't know how fast it would be. And then the arguments that I built basically is around an article that was sent to me by a very good friend of mine. Well, it's more, I know him because of the protection of the river that we're doing here in where I live in Saint-Henri. And he's a biologist. He's got many contacts. He's been active. He actually knows Daniel Green, and he had forwarded to me an article from Radio-Canada in French that I translated that was actually published in March that gives amazing data that then after I checked online, we don't need to have all the documentation. Since it's Radio-Canada, it's an official publication. We can just name those within our motion and then file the request to access information afterwards. It just shows that there's this urgency. So when we are in that level, from what I understand, they are then going straight to the matter, to the issue. We don't need, they go straight to the merit, basically. So it's in brief, it's where it's at. So I will continue working and propose a final version that everyone can see. But for now, if you want, I can start sharing it. There's a I think, a powerful introduction to that motion that everyone would agree with. And then it's about 40 points that I basically extracted from that article published in March from Radio-Canada, built different arguments in this, and there are the different sections that are expected on that form, that 1098 form. So then they are also included in this, and then the exhibit are to be filed afterwards once we obtain those documents through access request to access information. So do you want me to share that?
Go ahead, if you got something right now, let's just look at it this way. The land defenders can have something to go on to see if we're gonna decide we're gonna do that or we're gonna do something else. So yeah,
Yes.
go ahead.
Okay, perfect.
Let's
So
try to keep it as short as possible though.
okay, so you just tell me, I can go through the section, maybe just read the few first points, and then you can interrupt me whenever you feel it's enough.
Okay.
So, okay, so here it is. All right, so
I'm gonna go up to the screen so I can see this also.
So of course, we don't have a file number yet, so this is just left blank for now. So the respondent is Therapy Environmental Limited, urgent motion for interim injunction to protect public health and safety pursuant to Article 1098 CCQ. Introduction.
You know what, Mary Claude? Right now, right off the bat, since it's just a template, go there to the applicant and put KLD there, Kanyangahaga Land Defenders.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. All right. Introduction. This urgent motion is brought to seek immediate intervention by the Superior Court to prevent ongoing and potentially irreversible harm to human health caused by lead contamination originating from the respondent's operations. The applicant respectfully requests that the court order the immediate suspension of the respondent's activities until the full extent of the contamination and associated risks is properly assessed and controlled. Credible and scientifically grounded evidence demonstrates that lead has contaminated the air, water, and soil in areas immediately adjacent to the Ganawagi Survival School, Kateri Dekakwita School. Which official name should I use was one of my questions.
The survival school.
So I erased this here.
Well, you know what? Leave it there for now. I mean, we're not anywhere near actual application anyway, so leave it there because it actually affects there also.
Okay. Located within the Ganawagi community, children attending this school are particularly vulnerable to the toxic and irreversible effects of lead exposure. In the absence of immediate judicial intervention, continued exposure will result in irreparable harm to health, development, and well-being of these children and the surrounding community. The urgency of the situation requires immediate precautionary measures to prevent further harm. So here we talk about the evidentiary, what I mentioned about Radio-Canada, urgency and imminent risk. The applicant relies on publicly reported evidence from the Radio-Canada article dated March 5th, 2026, documenting ongoing and uncontrolled lead exposure at the respondent's facility. Given the immediate risk to children at the gallery, well, I will change the school. We just gotta call it schools for now. And the surrounding community, any delay in court intervention may result in irreparable and irreversible harm to public health. Further evidence, including environmental and health reports, may be filed as it becomes available.
Okay, wait. In the evidentiary, put one more thing there. So I guess you would put a number 4. It would change your numbers. Put also not a complete proper wording right now, but just to say also including the federal case that that is currently the federal case against her that is, let's see, my goodness. Also, all evidence within the federal charges against Terrapure that is currently within the, I guess it's within the Quebec courts. This is something we would have.
I think it's Longueuil, if I remember.
Yeah. So
That is currently.
we'll just leave it at that, and then later on we can fill in all the details. Like we can get that information from Daniel Green.
Perfect.
Just so that we know that will be one of the things that we cite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Here, we talk about the conflict of interest and independent oversight. So the schools are located on lands administrated by the Ganawagi band system. So just a parenthesis, Stuart, so we always say system, but for like legal purpose, should I leave council?
No.
No, huh? Okay.
They are not a council. They are a system.
Yeah. Okay. Which originally authorized the placement of the school adjacent to the respondents' facility in the 70s. Given this historical involvement, reliance on the band system alone to oversee remediation and safety measures could present a conflict of interest.
Well, there I would say take out the could and say presents a conflict of interest.
Yeah. To ensure objective and trustworthy oversight, the applicant requests that any environmental and health assessment, decontamination, and future monitoring be conducted under the supervision of an independent group composed of impartial members of the Ganawagi community, representative of the population at large.
And put KLD there again.
Okay, then facts. The schools are located in Ganawagi community immediately adjacent to the respondents' facility, is attended by children and youth. Given their age and developmental stage, these students are particularly vulnerable to the harmful and irreversible effects of lead exposure. Environmental testing has identified elevated levels of lead in the surrounding environment, including in maple water, air, and soil near the school. Due to these findings, there are serious concerns regarding ongoing exposure of children and community members to lead. Exposure to lead is known to cause serious and irreversible health effects, particularly in children. The Government of Canada has laid multiple charges against the respondent under the Fisheries Act for alleged discharges of toxic substances, including lead, into the St. Lawrence River between approximately 2020 and 2023. These charges, while not yet adjudicated, demonstrate that federal authorities have identified serious concerns regarding contamination associated with the respondents' operations. The proximity of the respondents' facility to the Ganawagi community raises urgent concerns about continued environmental exposure. The Ganawagi community has strong cultural, social, and territorial ties to its land, and relocation would cause significant and irreplaceable harm to the community. Immediate protective measures are required to allow the community to remain safely in place by shutting down Terrapure urgently. Reports from regional public health authorities and Quebec's labor standards bodies have identified concerns regarding exposure of workers at the respondents' facility to lead. Lead exposure is recognized as unsafe at any level and poses serious health risks. The presence of lead exposure among workers demonstrates that contamination from the respondents' operations is real and ongoing. Given the proximity of the respondents' facility to the school in Ganawagi, there is a serious risk that children and community members are also being exposed to lead.
Okay, very cool. I think for right now, for the purposes, I think that's good enough, because if we should decide, if it's decided we're gonna go this way, then every point we're gonna have to go back through and readjust it to its association to the treaties, all of this, you know. So just so that people get the gist of that, we can do this ourselves, and these are the points. How many points are in the document?
46, like that's the facts parts. This is just from what I could extract from that article. It was a very, very full-on article that they done, but I know that the Ganyangahaga land defenders have many more to add to this of all the work that they're doing and they've been doing, and Daniel Green and other people for sure. So this is just a start. So yes, for now we have 46 points. And then there's the other section, just so people know, then we have to name the legal basis. So it was already done.
Yeah, let's just go over the main point of the section then. So that
Okay.
the sense of this.
Okay, perfect. So I already said that, so that's fine. But this allow here, without a trial, it can go straight to the merits of that urgent motion, basically. Seeks the court's intervention to suspend the operations immediately pending full assessment and associated risk. Quebec law recognized the authority of the court to act preemptively to protect human health and safety, particularly where delay could result in irreversible or permanent harm. And this is so clear with lead exposure.
I'm just talking about like the main heading, like urgency,
Okay.
irreparable harm.
Okay, perfect. So then, yeah, urgency and so this is important to show in that kind of filing motion. So the urgency and the irreparable harm. Then we will include some case precedents, because it's just that I didn't have time, but I'm sure I'm gonna find plenty. Then the prima facie case, I don't know how to pronounce this. This is Latin. They always throw Latin as if it wasn't complicated enough with all the legal wording. But so this basically means that we need to prove without a doubt that this is the case. And so I read around it, and basically these are the elements that basically proves that. Then balance of convenience, proportionality. They basically ask us to show that it's basically the advantage of shutting down is way bigger than any monetary problem that Terrapure is going to incur. So that's it. Then the request that we want. So we name again that we want this independent, we want the Ganawagi land defenders to oversee everything, the appropriate decontamination, all the testing. And then we find the final point is to say that we have proven then that it is a prima facie, whatever how we pronounce this here, and so to then allow the order basically that Terrapure is shut down. Then from there, as I said, we just go on to the next step I explained a little bit earlier. which is to ask urgent hearing. I don't know if the Longhouse is still there.
Okay, can you hear us? Are you there? Are we there?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Hello?
Yes, we hear you, but you probably don't hear us.
Are we still there? Did we get cut off?
No, you're there, but maybe not completely. Ah, then we just lost them. Okay, they're back. Okay, so you're muted, Stuart.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so are we near like the summation of it now, or is that it, or is there?
Yeah, that's done. I was at the end, so basically I presented it's a proposition. Anything could be added, removed. There's parts that we can add. Of course, the two-row wampum, all of that question, I didn't get to it, but it's a clear case of two-row wampum, also of disrespect of the two-row wampum. Yeah.
So the only thing here for anybody who's listening to this, to know that this is like a template. So we take the template and then we look at every point and how to personalize it to fit Ganawagi, to fit us. Like Paul said, two-row wampum stuff, all of this, we even cite historical relations, all this kind of stuff. So we present this. Now we'll go for that work, Mary Claude. I know that's a lot of work to put this together, but for anybody to know, to understand that we do not need lawyers to do this. Lawyers get involved. There's going to be enormous cost one way or another to somebody somewhere down the line, and there is, like what Mary Claude said, more benefit to the people doing this ourselves. There's more benefit, more weight from the court's perspective that it's the people doing this. It's not any other like special interest or anything like this. It's the grassroots movement. So something like this would also be, we would also have to create another section that we seek third-party status within the federal case. So we would seek third-party status within there, which would amplify the federal case, which would just put more oomph to everything. It's like if we were like fighting somebody and we just pushed them with our pinky, or else two fingers or three or whatever. But a fist, as you know, has more power behind it. So we connect ourselves to the federal case, and from there, Ganyangahaga Land Defenders will just do what we do and go and through our relations, we get other people or organizations or entire communities to get on board to be a part of this. Okay, so we can clearly do this. Like I said, this is the template. It's there. Okay, go ahead. You wanted to
Yes, just something to finalize is that to understand the class action suit, from what I understand, it's much longer process. You need to build your whole thing, then you're gonna go through the waiting, whatever. I think it's, from what I understand, again, maybe other people would say differently, but from what I understand, it's the urgency then comes through that motion much quicker, because that's the function of this. The other point is that, of course, all of this, the relocation of the children, this cost money that Ganawagi didn't plan on having, we're not supposed to have. So this is also something I could see, because at the end, there's a point saying all without cost, and allowing something for experts and all of this. So I will make some more research in trying to find if we can also add a request to the court for them to allow immediate amounts because of the severity of the situation to relocate the children and to, for the testing, because they cannot expect Ganawagi to all of a sudden be able to test everyone and like Daniel Green was saying today, it's a very sensitive thing. I mean, to know that you had been contaminated with lead, you feel it's so intrusive. It's a violation of the highest form. So people are going to be worried. So there's going to be a lot of need. Right now, there is a lot of need because then it's public. It was in Radio Canada. So everybody's talking about it. Everybody's worried. People drank that maple water. A lot of people went to these schools. So necessary to see how we can include that in that filing as well, so we can address it also urgently because it goes hand in hand. So I will work some more on this, and that's all I wanted to say to
Yeah, what would happen from here should the Ganyangahaga land defenders decide to take this route? Then of course we would have a series of meetings about this to refine all the positions, every position, every point, and other stuff, added in, maybe some things taken out, whatever. So we would have a series of meetings to do this, but if we're gonna do this, it's gotta be done really soon. So, this is to show everybody that we can do this. I know we can do this because we've done this with our own case all the way to the Supreme Court right now. And anybody can check what do you call that, Mary Claude, when you go to check is it the roster or something?
the digital, well, if you actually, people can go directly to the Supreme Court of Canada and they type in your name because it's a different name. There's not many Mayo. So just by typing Mayo in the case, you'll see that it's properly lodged. You basically, people don't have access yet to all the documentation because it's the process of the Supreme Court. It's only once they accept the case going forward. We're still at this stage that we're waiting for their answer. But once it goes through and then will be heard in front of the Supreme Court, then they upload all the documentation. But for now, people can have access of the paper trail, basically everything that was lodged to comply basically with all the Supreme Court criteria. And there's always a part of amendments. Everyone has to go through corrections. I can't imagine anyone going through that process and not having to adjust anything because it's so incredibly complex and not almost no one gets to the Supreme Court, even if you are an experienced lawyer. I guess getting to the Supreme Court, it's a different world in its own. They all have their particularities. So, yeah.
But in what we discovered, anyways, that without using a lawyer, doing it ourselves, we put in quite simply a little paragraph stating that since we are not lawyers and we're representing ourselves, that you basically tell us if there's something missing that we missed or left out, that you tell us, and we will complete, according to what their rules are or direction.
Mm-hmm.
Again, there's benefit to doing this without a lawyer. There is more, I say there's more power in the Ganyangahaga land defenders taking this action than if the Ganyangahaga land defenders hired a lawyer to do it. It's like basically we're getting somebody to fight our fight for us. We can fight this fight ourselves. Okay, so just for everybody to know that we can do this, here is the template. It's just the beginning. It's not a complete proposal even that Mary Claude's putting forward. It's just something that she put together to be able to present here, that should we decide that it's a viable route that we can take. Okay, so from here, I don't know, I can't see who's with us. Is Curry Curry, Gazita Howie, are you with us? Are they there?
They were there for a long time, but they are not there anymore.
Okay, so what we need to do is verify or decide if the Ganyangahaga land defenders are gonna do this or not. Okay, since they're not here, well, they're not here even to say, yeah, let's do it or whatever. Well, so what I'll do is I'll write like a little proposal. And something that I could post on my page and social media that everybody in Ganawagi can see it. Anybody could see it, and that way also any non-native people who have knowledge in any of this in any way that they could see it and get on board to assist. Okay, so this is a step that we haven't taken before. So if we're saying that we got to get from step 1 to step 10, well, up until now we're at step 0. So right now, this is the proposal to go to step 1. Okay, so Mary Claude, now we'll go for this, as anybody knows that if we're gonna do this, then Mary Claude has already agreed to lend her expertise to this. Like she said, she's not an expert, but she's an expert because we already done all this work in the courts, like going all the way through the court system. And you might say, well, that's defending against criminal or misdemeanor charge. I think it's a misdemeanor charge, all the way up to the federal level. But in our case, it's a systemic racism that we push forward. So this can be done. We can do it. Now, again, some people might say, well, you're always saying that we don't take them to court. Yeah, we don't take them to court, but in this case, if we don't take them to court, what happens? TerraPure continues with the lead contamination of our children. So we're not going to be saying, hey, treaty, and they're going to say, oh, okay, excuse us. No, that's not going to happen. The only thing that's going to get a response is an action lodged in the court. So it's just a matter then of the wording that we put to be within the two-row wampum, that we are not crossing the line of our nation and into their court system. We are quite simply in lieu of two-row wampum avenues that we have relegated us to having to take this action. And of course, we'd include there that they should have in place two-row wampum treaty provisions when there is a two-row treaty dispute. So we'll add all of that in, it'll all be right and proper and yeah. Okay, so I'll talk with Curry and Gazita Howie and other people who are part of the Ganyangahaga Land Defenders to see if they would be willing to be a signature to it. And then once we get a response from them, then we'll contact you back, Mary Claude, and to say, okay, we're gonna get moving on this, and then we will have live Zoom meetings where we will refine every point, where we'll go over it. And we're probably gonna have maybe 10 of those meetings to refine, because we want to get to the right and proper position all the way around to cover our tracks on everything. Okay, does anybody have any question or anything to say on this?
Jean-Sebastien raised his hand.
Okay, let's go to him.
You hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Yeah. I went on checking for TerraPure while we were talking about it, and looks to me that when you sit on a big treasury like this, most people who possess it will try to not budge to get the grasp of it. From what I saw, it's $100 million worth per year, 1,600 employee, and each of them are paid 256,000 a year. That's a huge pay, like 10 times more of the lowest and five times more than the average. So it will be hard to budge. And I mean, yes, we got to bring it to court, but I think it's a good option to not use lawyer because if we do, their funds will will make them invincible versus to us who will have limited fund. But I will end with TerraPure. For me, is the worst name you could give to a company that is polluting like that. I would make a funny board game. Is there a purity in behind this?
Yeah.
So I will be working with you on that, and anything I can find, I will give, because I'm not happy about what TerraPure has done. Thank you
Now,
for sharing light on that.
now we'll go. This is where these relations tonight that we've established comes into play, and we have other two-row wampum relations with many other people, but we would call upon the two-row wampum relations to have non-native people also to be incorporated in the action, in the suit, because it affects non-native people just as much as it does us. I mean, when we think of maybe you yourself aren't living in Saint Constant, but all the people who are there, I don't know how many people, Saint Constant, Candiac, that's a big area, and they're shipping in more and more immigrants there every year. They're putting, as you know, throughout Quebec, they're putting up these condos everywhere that people are going to fill them. So it's like as if the population of that area of the South Shore of Saint Constant, Candiac, Delson, it's like it's tripling, like over the last couple of years. So there's a lot of people there who would be, who I'm sure we could get to assist, to participate, have their name to it, maybe a local organization, maybe even a skating club or something, or the people who go fishing. When you think of right there at the locks, this is where there's like, you always see people fishing there. All my life, I always seen non-native people fishing there, and it still continues. Even if it's just catch and release, well, you're catching and releasing contaminated fish, and just the contact, unless you're wearing gloves or something, it's gonna affect the health of the people. And I would say even if you are wearing gloves, it affects the people, even like psychologically. If you pull this fish out of the water and you see it with all these deformities, I'm sure everybody's seen and heard of fish in the St. Lawrence with three eyes. So, this is something that, imagine if you've seen a fish with three eyes, like how would that affect you? So it's just even the psychological impact of it. So we could get a lot of people involved, connected, helping. So yeah, Nyawagoa, thank you so much. We know you're on board. Even if it's just, we'll say one meeting, we need somebody to do a little research. We know you're there. So Nyawagoa to this. Okay, anybody else has anything to
Yes, there's Beatrice that has raised her hand.
Okay, let's go to her.
Oui, bonsoir. Oui, en fait, nous, on a déjà, je vais parler en français parce que je suis plus à l'aise en français.
Uh-oh, microphone or something, we can't hear you. And
Angel?
Mary Claude or Angel, can one of you translate? Edith's not in here at the moment.
Yeah, I will translate, no problem.
Est-ce que vous m'entendez?
Oui.
Ok. Donc, on a fait on a établi des contacts avec Réinfo Québec.
We made contacts with Info Québec.
Et je pense que c'est une bonne cause qui pourrait effectivement les intéresser, et le fait de promouvoir peut-être une pétition sur le problème que vous avez soulevé ce soir, parce qu'effectivement, ça touche tout le monde.
And they could be a good contact to have for this, and we could also do a petition for people to sign.
L'organisation, c'est Réinfo Québec, et on est très proche d'eux.
The organization is Re-Info Quebec, and we are close to them.
Aussi, nous pouvons les contacter facilement
We can contact them pretty easily,
et je pense qu'ils seraient très intéressés effectivement à soutenir votre cause.
and I think they would be really interested to encourage and participate in this cause.
Okay, then if you could just maybe even just contact them and let them know the interaction that you had tonight and the assistance that we're seeking, just to give them a preliminary like knock on the door and say heads up, you know, this is what's happening. Are you interested? If you can take those steps even right now, that would really assist in determining here if the Ganyangahaga land defenders are going to proceed with this. So yeah, if you can approach right now.
Oui,
then-
tout à fait. Par contre, est-ce que je vous mets en contact avec eux? Est-ce que Lucie, tu les connais?
I can do that, but do I put them directly in contact with you? Lucie, do you know them?
Oui, je les connais, Réinfo Québec, mais par contre, on peut passer là, là, tu peux les contacter, il n'y a pas de problème. La seule chose, c'est que peut-être qu'ils pourraient, je ne sais pas quand on va pouvoir rencontrer le Longhouse, mais on peut peut-être voir avec Marie-Claude si elle connaît beaucoup le processus là, au niveau de la cour. Peut-être que ça serait bon là, qui se parlent un peu. Alors, je ne sais pas comment que le Longhouse veut que ça fonctionne. On pourrait peut-être passer direct, je ne sais pas quand, là. C'est le Longhouse qui va décider ça, mais je peux t'aider, Béatrice, là-dedans, si tu veux.
OK.
So she says that she doesn't know how the Longhouse wants to proceed, but she can, Beatrice can contact them, no problem. It's an ACCQ contact, and she suggests that to put them in contact with you.
Okay, right now, this is how we'll proceed. You contact them and just tell them what you experienced here tonight, that you heard there's a possibility that there's gonna be a legal action being taken from the people, a grassroots movement in Ganawagi, and see if they'd be interested or if they can assist in any way. If they are, then when we decide to proceed, we will contact them to come to the first gathering of addressing this.
OK. D'accord.
All right. Wow. Very good. Well, okay. If there's anybody else that has anything on this, any questions, anything you want to state before we move on? Okay. Now we'll go with Mary Claude. I know that's a lot of work that you did. I know because of the work that we done that this is a big initiative that you have taken on. So now we'll go. We're gonna find out. Let's see. It's Wednesday. By Friday, we'll know if we got or who we got or how many people we got to actually pursue this. So we'll let everybody know by Friday.
Perfect. Nyamaga for the Longhouse and everyone participating.
All right. Okay. As for anything else tonight, I'm beat. I had a big long day. So if there's nothing else that we were supposed to address, nothing else that anybody wants to bring forward or anything, we're gonna close up for tonight if that's okay with everyone.
I would just have a quick comment that, regarding the time of the year. I'm trying to spotlight myself. I'm Angèle, daughter of Jeanne Mance, granddaughter of Jeanne-Aimée, great-granddaughter of Marianne. I'm a Territorial temporary representative in the Life Givers Nation. And it's because I was really surprised that it's been at least, is it at least 3 weeks, but is it already 4 that we opened the bush? That we opened the maple ceremony?
Ooh, I think it's 4, huh?
It's 4 already, yeah. So here, the water is running. I have like neighbors that are, I'm sorry to say that, but they are pumping, so we can know that it's going. But if you go in the east, Témiscouata, my dad has a land there, and it's not even started at all. So I was a bit surprised. Normally it's a bit closer than that. Normally it's in March, but now we are now April, and it's not. It doesn't seem like it's right now. So I just wanted to report that maybe it's just because the other years I was not paying as much attention, but I'm pretty sure last year it was earlier than that and closer to the rhythm of the longhouse. It's not as far east, so yeah. So
Well, that's interesting. It gives you a sense of the different like temperate zones also around us, the mountains, valleys, and the different temperatures, where it's still frozen, there must still be snow on the ground there then, huh?
yes, and when I went to Quebec last week, it was I was wondering why are the roads are all wet, but then I realized that was because of snow melting. At my place, there's none. There was less than at the Longhouse. I don't know if you remember me reporting that. This is for me, it's an anomaly. I live in the mountains. I'm supposed to have more snow than Montreal, but no. On the ground of the Longhouse, you had snow longer than myself here. It melted really, really fast.
So here's another example of the friendship that we've made tonight, that we're all in different areas. When we come together, we learn that we start sharing about things that you never shared about before, that you pay attention to things that you never paid attention to before. So then this gives us, again, a larger awareness, a larger consciousness of the land, what's happening upon the land, and then to ourselves. So this is, again, the purpose of two-row wampum relations. Gives us a larger consciousness of what's happening around us, the environment, all of that. All right, now we'll go. We're going to close up then. There was something that I wanted to put out there, but my brain is fried now. So we're going to just do the closing. And like usual, we're going to close with a song. And tonight, since we are discussing about the lead contamination that is being inflicted upon children, we're going to do a song that's really for the children. It's really a fun song that comes from the South. Oh, song. Are we good for the song?